You're listening to KZOM, Oleander Public Radio. Welcome to People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos with Dave and DB.
Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos. I'm DB Spitzer, here with David Heath, as always, to my virtual right. Dave, how the heck are you doing this week?
I am doing the heck well.
Good to hear, good to hear.
Looking forward to this weekend, or if you're listening to this in 2 weeks, last weekend, or if you're, well, whatever, you get the point.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the next weekend from when we are recording this.
Exactly. So, someone's going to hear it at some point in time. In real-time space, it's Sunday the 12th. It is my birthday. I am X many years old.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. But yeah, no, we're going to be talking about Ward Phillips, the Dunwich Horror, and you've got an interview, I believe, with someone?
Yeah, so with Adam Bolivar, who is a painter, not painter, he's a poet and a writer and a puppeteer.
I was going to say puppeteer as well, yes.
And we'll be discussing all of those, as well as Old English versions of Norse mythology.
Whoa, that sounds like fun. All right. So, yeah, how's your week been going? How's everything going out on the newly located farm?
Oh, well, we're bringing in boats, are bringing in hay, and we're getting the barn, so it's been busy. It's been busy here in Swan Island, where there are no swans, and it is no longer an island.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it's called Swan Island based off of its shape, or the person who founded it.
It could be, but it was an island up until about the 20s.
Yeah, and I believe there was actually swans there until the 20s as well.
Probably. The reason why they filled up the space between the island and the shore was, and of course nobody cares about this but me, but it'll be fast. Two things. One is it was creating a navigational hazard in the Willamette River. Yeah. But also, it's where the first major Portland airport was, and they wanted the landing strip to be long enough, so they started on one side of the shore and filled up Swan Island's the channel, and then stretched it all the way through to Swan Island, and you can still see the markers and the signs there. And
what's the part of Portland that it connected to? The island itself, it connected to is it on the north side or the south side that it got connected?
I was not told that there would be any math.
I'm just trying to figure out if it's above.
So it's on the opposite side of the Pearl.
Yeah, so it's Mock's Landing then.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. All right. I have to look this stuff up. I mean, I grew up in that area, so it's like, oh yeah, that's out by the naval base, is a little bit further, but
and across from it is where they're talking about building the baseball diamond.
Oh, interesting. All right. Well, enough old business. Let's move on to new business. Who's Ward Phillips?
There, first of all, not one, but I have come up with 4 or 5 Ward Phillips.
I only have 3.
So here's the question.
Yes.
Well, what is the plurality of Ward Phillips? Is it Ward Phillipses, or is it Ward Philippi, or is it multiple people named Ward Phillips? What's the proper plurality of Ward Phillips?
Much like Pokemon, it is Ward Phillips.
Oh.
A room full of people named Ward Phillips is a Ward Phillips.
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
yeah.
which Ward Phillips do you want to start off with first?
Okay. So the oldest Ward Phillips that I can talk about is from, I believe, a Lynn Carter bit and a RPG book, Miskatonic University, and something written by Lynn Carter called The Winfield Heritance. And that is the first president of Miskatonic University back in 1670. Donated what is mostly known as the library that'll later be known as the Miskatonic University Library in 1693, instrumental in witch trials in Arkham, and yeah.
Yes.
Is that one of yours?
Yes, one of, and you know, we ought to, you know, sort of address the obvious too. So there is another one.
Okay.
Howard Phillips Lovecraft. This is obviously, of course, a play on, and this wasn't one of them, but I was thinking maybe there's a few people that didn't get this.
Oh, yeah.
This is a play on Lovecraft's name.
Yep. And yeah, Lynn Carter was the first one to make that play on that name, to my knowledge.
I think you're correct. But Lovecraft's going to use them too in a couple places.
Oh, sure. All right.
So do you want to go number 2?
Okay, you tell me about number 2. I'm curious about number 2.
Well, so I think I know which 3 you're talking about. So let's talk about maybe the most important one.
All right.
And this is going to appear in Beyond the Silver Key.
Okay.
In about 2 paragraphs. And in the first, his name's only mentioned once. And he's first described as the old man.
Oh.
And then he's described as, his name is as Ward Phillips. And he is the person who tries to get the courts not to split up Randolph Carter's estate.
Okay.
And give it to his distant cousins. And on the grounds, of course, that he's in some other form astral projecting to the universe, which is absolutely correct if you read the story, but not the type of thing that you were thinking would give to, testimony of and not get crazy. And so this was created by Lovecraft, of course. And I think it reflects him as an older person.
Yeah.
Was this one of the ones that you had?
It's not one of the ones that I have, but I believe that's more Derleth in Lovecraft.
I think Lovecraft wrote through Beyond the Silver Key.
I'm looking at Through the Gates of the Silver Key.
Oh, maybe it was.
Ettinfell House Red and Return of the White Ship.
Okay, so it's beyond the Gates of the Silver Key then.
Okay.
Is where he I just misnamed it. And so what I actually did is I brought that one out back on PDF, and I typed in Ward, and he only appears once, and he's in 2 paragraphs.
Okay.
And
cool.
the first paragraph talks about him being an old man, and then it gives him his name. And I believe that was written by Lovecraft.
All right. That makes sense.
Okay.
All right. So who's the next one we've got up on plate?
So he is the writer, and this one, I believe, was Derleth, the writer of the Thaumaturgical Prodigies of New England and Canaan.
Oh, yeah. He was also a pastor of the Second Church of Arkham.
Yes, he was. Or, yes, which was like the First Baptist, like who's on
Something
first?
Something like that, yeah.
Who's on first? But, yes, and he is, I believe, was hinted at by Lovecraft, but I think this is Derleth.
Yeah.
And here's a point in one of the stories where he basically hints that this stuff is true and that this book is a warning.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no. So that would have been Lurker at the Threshold.
Lurker,
he was
that's
friends.
it, yes.
Yeah, he was friends with Elijah Billington. And Lurker at the Threshold. Yeah, no. Librarian, Miskatonic University, 1805. Let's see what else.
So you like the other two that I found?
Yeah.
So he is a character in one of the Mythos card collectible games.
Okay.
Where he is a 17-year-old student, sickly student, who is able to project himself into the Dreamlands to escape his injuries and diseases. And so this is, I think, interesting because in the card game, and of course it's based on Lovecraft. It's based on Lovecraft as a 17-year-old. And then Through the Gates of the Silver Key, we have him as an adult.
Yeah.
So I think it sort of comes full circle. Here's the other interesting thing that's a possibility is that maybe Ward Phillips, although it doesn't quite match, maybe he's some of these nameless protagonists of Lovecraft.
Yeah,
he's a friend of Randolph Carter, and
yeah, no. If it can't be Randolph Carter, I assume it's Ward Phillips.
Yeah.
Yeah,
ready?
no.
Oh, you ready for number 5?
Hold on one second. Hit me.
Okay, so number 5 is in Richard Stanley's Color Out of Space.
Oh.
That's the name of the engineer or the surveyor. Okay. So, and again, Stanley did this as a pun, but maybe that the engineer and the unnamed engineer in Lovecraft's Color Out of Space might have been Ward Phillips. Or
possibly.
Or maybe Old Man Ward Phillips, relative or descendant.
Oh, yeah. Those all seem like likely ideas.
Yes. So those are the 5 Ward Philippi or Ward Phillips or however you want to pronounce it that I found.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no. That sounds like a good amount of Ward Phillips. I don't think we could find any more. Hey, if you're out there listening and you know where to find more Ward Phillips, check us out on Facebook under People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos, or you can contact us at pgttcm.com or pgttcm@gmail.com.
And there has to be, well, and there obviously are people whose names are Ward Phillips because I came across a bunch of them, a dentist, a math teacher. But I'm gonna probably guess that most of them, since they also seem kind of old, most of them, their parents didn't know about Lovecraft.
Yeah. Also, we have a YouTube page, People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos, that you can check out. There's 2 of them for some reason. I don't know why. I think I forgot the password and started another one, and then remembered the old password and forgot about the other one. So, all right. So, on to the next thing. Dave, quick question.
All right.
Who are we going to be talking about today? Who are we talking with? We're talking with Adam Bolivar?
Bolivar, yes, we are.
All right. Well, we'll talk about him after this little short break. And then after that, there will be another little short break. And then after that, we'll be talking about
the Dunwich Horror.
What?
The movie.
Woo! 1970. American International's The Dunwich Horror. And if it's made by American International, it's a quality film.
Is that like an oxymoron?
Oh.
For us, I mean, at least, I mean,
No. I'm having a little bit of fun. All right.
No, international, American.
Oh,
international. Isn't that an oxymoron?
No. I thought you were talking about the film. It's okay. No. American International. I don't know. It may be an oxymoron. I'm not quite sure. All right. It's an American film that's internationally distributed.
Oh.
All right. We'll see you after the break, everyone.
I want to tell you all about something. I want to tell you about a guy I know in a place. This is Dave's Corner of the Podcast. It is awesome. It's gonna go fast. It's not the interview pod. Ha ha. Ha ha. It's not the pod where DB talks forever. Never. Ever. No, it's Dave's Corner of the Podcast. Dave's Corner of the Podcast. Dave, everyone.
All right. Well, this is the part where I talk to somebody whose name is not DB or any form of the initials DB. Well, kind of. It is Adam Bolivar. Adam, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Well, my initials are AB, so
almost.
Yeah.
And I was actually looking over some notes here, and last time we talked was, I believe, in September 2020. Well, not the last time we talked on air, not necessarily the last time we talked.
Right.
And so we are so glad that you returned.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah. In fact, in that time, I know just recently you've got 3 books coming out, right? That's quite a plurality there. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I've had a kind of prolific couple of years.
Oh, great.
I think partly because of COVID. I think like nothing else to do, right? So I just spent a lot of time writing.
Yeah. So one is Ettinfell of Beacon.
The Ettinfell of Beacon Hill.
Oh, Beacon Hill. Excuse me. And the other is A Wheel of Ravens.
Right.
And Ballads for the Witching Hour.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah. So they're all 3 are pretty different. So the first one, the Ettinfell of Beacon Hill, that came out over a year ago, but it's good to like keep plugging it, I think, because I don't know, I feel like it's one of my best works ever.
Oh, okay.
It's a series of occult detective stories set in 1920s Boston.
You had me at occult Boston and 1920s.
Yes. Well, I'm from Boston originally, although I live in Portland, Oregon now. So it's kind of a bit of a Valentine to the hometown.
Okay.
But it's set in the 1920s, and it's about a Boston Brahmin. They're like one of the sort of upper class hoity-toity people that you don't see much of anymore. And they all live on Beacon Hill, which is this very kind of very old-fashioned, very like kind of exclusive part of Boston that all like the old families live, like the people who descended from the Mayflower kind of people. But John Drake in particular, though, he's shunned by most of the other Boston Brahmins because he's got kind of a reputation for being kind of a satanic dabbler. But he's called the Ettinfell, and he's like one of a hereditary line of people who kind of can fight supernatural horrors like demons, vampires, and whatever else that kind of tries to come through into our world. So inevitably kind of people turn to him for help when they find that their mansion is haunted or something.
Okay.
But I did a lot of research.
And you said it's been out for a while. Where can our listeners get it?
So you can buy it on jackanapespress.com. And you can also just buy it on Amazon, where all books are easily accessible these days.
Excellent. And I've got to admit, I love the title, A Wheel of Ravens.
Yeah. Well, so A Wheel of Ravens and Ballads for the Witching Hour are both poetry. They're both pretty different, though. Let me talk about Ballads for the Witching Hour first, because that one is more recent. That one just came out a few months ago. This one is available from Hippocampus Press, and it's a collection of ballads mostly. So I write poetry in formal rhyme and meter, but they're very folklorically influenced. They're all like Tamlin or Thomas the Rhymer, like in that tradition. Like they have a lot of kind of medieval influence. But the third book, that one has not come out yet, and I'm really excited for it. It's called A Wheel of Ravens.
Okay.
And it is. So I was invited to an anthology of what's called alliterative verse, which I was not that familiar with, and once I learned about it, I got really fascinated by it, because alliterative poetry is the poetry that like Old English and Old Norse texts were written in, like Beowulf, or like the Norse sagas, or like the Eddas. Like, it's like a traditional Germanic form of poetry, which has kind of disappeared. Like people don't write like that anymore. So it's the difference between it and like rhyming poetry is that the sounds at the beginnings of words are alliterated, are like repeated. So it's kind of like reverse rhyming.
Oh.
So and that's what all those old English and Old Norse poems were written in, and it's like a completely forgotten art form. It has a lot more rules than that. Like there's more to it than just like the alliteration. Like there's like a very complicated meter that goes along with it, and there's rules about how things get alliterated, which I won't like get too deep into here. But so I like it. It got me really fired up, so I wrote a whole collection of poems like that in like the traditional Old English meter, and there's a lot of like Norse mythology influence in the poems too. Like I write but I wrote poems that were based on the Old English version of the Norse gods, not the Norse ones. So like Odin was called Woden by the English.
All right.
And Thor was called Thunor. So for some reason, like the Norse names kind of got remembered and the Old English names weren't remembered. So I'm trying to revive that like alternate mythology, which I kind of think gives the book a little bit of originality too, because everyone writes stuff about Odin and Loki and stuff, but not many people know about Woden and Luca, which is like.
I'm sorry.
But anyway, I there was a PhD professor of Old English who kind of was encouraging me and giving me advice on how to write them, and he wrote the foreword, and he pointed out that this is actually the first collection of like traditional alliterative poems ever written, like original poems. So that's a pretty big distinction, I think.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
Now, I'm going to probably throw a kind of curve for you, but I've got a personal question that I'm just really curious.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm not really an expert on Norse mythology.
Okay.
Very curious as a kid, and I wish we had the internet. But I'm familiar with the term Woden and stuff. Do you find that the characters in the Middle English version are different than the characters in the Norse sagas?
Well, so the problem is that there is very little information about the English versions because they were Christianized a lot earlier. It's only like small fragments exist, and most of the information we get actually were written down by Christian monks. And they
Irish, right?
they deliberately like didn't give us information. They're like, oh yeah, well, there were these old gods. They were called Odin and called Woden and whatever, but we don't talk about them anymore, sort of thing.
We're gonna keep all the good stuff out.
Yeah, so it's kind of frustrating. Like I think that's mostly why people just go with the Norse versions, because that's the ones that we have more information on. But so I kind of basically did a lot of imaginative reconstruction. I mean, you can kind of assume they're pretty similar. But there probably were differences, but we just don't really know.
But I imagine as a creative and an author, that gives you quite a big sandlot to play in.
Yeah, actually, I think it was inspiring in a way, because I kind of got to like come up with my own versions, kind of what I thought they would be like. The like a lot of scholars are very they're hesitant to like, you know, speculate on things because they just don't have the information. But I'm a writer, so I can like speculate away, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm not saying that there isn't some crossover, but yeah, a creative's got a lot more play than an academic.
Right. So I've got some leeway that academics don't have, but I am careful to point out. I write an introduction to like tell people that a lot of the assumptions I make are not necessarily historically accurate. So don't go buy my book and use it as like some kind of academic source material, because it's not.
Don't cut and paste it and put it into Wikipedia.
Yeah, it's educated guesses basically, but I mean, there are people who like practice like kind of Norse neo-paganism or English neo-paganism, and they make kind of assumptions or reconstructions too. Like you can like maybe you hear Odin talking to you in a dream or something, and you know, who's to say that it's not true?
Absolutely, yeah, no, and I can say this because she doesn't usually listen, but you've already convinced me what I'm going to get my mom for her birthday.
Well, the book hasn't come out yet, so I don't know when.
Her birthday's in September, so we got a little while.
Okay, I think there's a good chance it'll be out by September.
Okay, well, she may be getting an IOU, because my mom loves Norse mythology and loves poetry. So
there you go.
It's like you've been writing it for her. So
yeah, well, I mean, I'm hoping it'll inspire other people to write poetry like this, because like I said, it's a lost art form. It was the traditional poetry used by like the Old Norse and the Old English, like for probably centuries, maybe even thousands of years, and it just kind of got like suppressed and like it was kind of deliberately squashed because I think it was considered pagan. So I'm bringing it back.
Yeah. So the Norse god of poetry, is that Barke?
Oh, GLAAKI.
GLAAKI. My mom for my birthday gave me a wooden carving icon of Braki that was carved in the Ukraine.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I should get one of those. I guess he's kind of my my patron god, right? Yeah. Although Odin, I'll just call him Odin because it's more familiar. That is kind of considered the god of poetry too. Like he has something like he won something called the Mead of Poetry.
Oh, okay.
Like it's like this kind of like magic mead, and if you drink it, supposedly it makes you a brilliant poet. So I'm hoping he maybe gave me a couple of drops.
Well, that sounds like it. Now, I have this sort of, I'm trying not to insult myself, but I'm kind of slow jumping gears, going from one thing to another. I mean, it's hard for me to go from one thing to another sometimes. And here you seem to just be switching, seamlessly between, horror, mystery, poems, and ballads. How do you do it?
Well, I mean, going from ballads to Old English poetry wasn't much of a jump. I've always been interested in traditional forms. I kind of wish I had found out about the Old English poetry sooner, honestly, because that's kind of what I was looking for when I was doing ballads. But I was really looking for like the really old stuff. But the writing I am mostly a poet. Writing the horror stories was kind of a new thing for me. But I didn't find it like, I don't know. I kind of find it's not that big of a jump for some reason. I included a lot of poems in the book too, in the Ettinfell book.
Oh, okay.
I actually bring in Norse mythology in the book too, believe it or not.
Awesome.
So, like, I'm still kind
Mom,
of like
Christmas present.
Yeah, you can get her that one too. Yeah, or maybe more of a Yule present, right?
Yeah, exactly. So do you think that, how can I phrase this? That the spirit of poetry sort of sets the tone for your prose, if I'm making any sense or not there?
Yeah. Well, I kind of like, that's one reason I like Lovecraft is his language is very poetic.
Yes.
Like he's not just like writing a story as simply as he can. Like the actual care he puts into the words and the kinds of words he uses is very important to him. Like it almost feels like he's basically just writing like prose poems in a really long form.
Narla-Hotep, I think, is an excellent example of a prose poem. But
yeah, for sure.
On that.
No, I agree. I think I kind of take the same approach. Like my prose writing is very like, I made it because it's set in the 1920s, so I'm like deliberately using very antiquated ways of writing. So I think it may not be super popular. I shouldn't say this, my publisher would kill me, but like I don't think it'll ever be a bestseller because like it's not like easy to read.
Well, it's those hidden gems that are so rare and so wonderful to find.
Yeah, but I think people like you, like people you would meet at the Lovecraft Film Festival, would appreciate it. So it's a small audience, but it's an audience nevertheless.
Now, the last time we talked, you had mentioned or you talked about your puppet shows. How is that going?
So I'm still doing them. I just did a puppet show last Halloween at a place called the Book Pub in Portland. I don't know if you've ever been there. And it was like kind of a poetry night / puppet show. Like people got up and read, poems and stories, and then we did the puppet show afterwards, and it went over really well. I still like doing puppet shows. It's pretty physically demanding though, so
yeah,
I don't know if I can pull it off more than maybe like a couple times a year.
Yeah, but, and your puppets are marionettes, right?
Yeah, they're string puppets. So like you're standing like behind like a curtain, and all the audience sees is like this sort of window. Like they just see the marionettes, and there's like sets and like props and stuff. So it's fun, but like I said, it's kind of physically demanding.
Excellent.
But I'm hoping to do another one maybe around like Walpurgis Night.
Okay.
Like end of April.
Get if you can get us the information, I'll make sure that DB puts that out on our shows around then, so that people will know it's coming out.
Okay, yeah, nothing is like finalized yet, but we're aiming for something like April 30th.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, just let us know when and where, and who knows, if we're finished with the kidding season, maybe I'll be able to show up. You
should come. Well, I don't know if you've ever been to the Book Bin in Salem, but that's where we're probably going to do it.
Okay, all right. I've not been there, but
yeah, it's a bookstore in Salem, but
okay,
yeah,
awesome.
Should it be
puppets and books? You can't beat that.
Yeah, well, it's going to be like kind of a literary event. Like people will give readings, and then we'll do a puppet show.
Awesome. And now, so this is our sort of our signature question, and I'm really kind of excited to hear what your answer is. If you could be in charge of any creative project. And you don't have to worry about copyrights. You don't have to worry about money. You get whoever you want as cast and crew or support. What is your dream creative project?
Oh, wow. That's a pretty big question. One thing I've always kind of wanted to do was something like having to do with film. Like actually make a movie. Like I could maybe make a movie of like one of these 1920s detective stories, or like something Lovecraftian, like something really kind of weird, but also maybe set in that time period. Like it could even be like black and white and like everyone, in period dress, like kind of filmed in like old parts of town or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know about the who I would get to be in it. I'd have to think about that.
Sure. Well, that would sound great. Well, I have really, not only have I learned a lot, I've really enjoyed this. And we're going to work really hard to try to get you back before a year and a half.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's anytime. It's always a pleasure to come on this.
Well, thank you. And so real quickly, and I know some of the books are coming out, but you were saying that the Ettinfell of Beacon Hill, we can get at Amazon, and where can we get the others, or when can we get the others?
So, well, they're all on Amazon, but you can also buy them directly from the publisher. The Ettinfell of Beacon Hill is on jackanapespress.com.
Okay.
The Ballads for the Witching Hour is on hippocampuspress.com.
Okay.
And A Wheel of Ravens has not come out yet, but I hope it will come out this year. And that is also from jackanapespress.com.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much. And can't wait to hear from you again.
All right. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Dave and DB go to the movies. Dave and DB go. Movies, Dave and DB go to the movies. Dave and DB go.
Hey, everyone. So, this weekend, right now, we are at a convention. We're at a fan convention. Letting you know something about us. We're fans of all kinds of things. But we don't cosplay. I mean, like, I cosplay sometimes as characters from Lovecraft, but everyone's just like, hey, why are you a handsome, fair-haired man in a suit? And I'm like, oh, I'm this character from Lovecraft. And they're like, oh. And, Dave cosplays as the man in the house, the picture in the house.
Oh yes, the crazy one, the crazy one. No, I actually have cosplayed at other conventions. I've done a steampunk.
Yeah.
I've done Dallas from Alien.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
Ones where you don't have to shave your beards.
Yeah. Yeah. And I cosplay at events that people don't expect you to cosplay at. My friends and I, we used to cosplay as Jedis at Burning Man in the 90s when Star Wars was not cool.
I have occasionally cosplayed at like the grocery store.
Yeah. No, but Why Cosplay is one of our sponsors for this episode, and why cosplay? Why not cosplay? Cosplay's fun. And they've got all kinds of stuff. They've got Star Wars. They've got a lot of your favorite current anime out there. They've got stuff from movies. They've got stuff from anime. They've got stuff from video games, which I'm also excited about. And yeah, why cosplay? Check out the link. Figure out how to get 20% off. I thought it was 25% off. That was an old thing. Don't. There's no 25% off, but I get you 20% off. Anyway, follow the link, use our code, and in the show notes, and get 20% off of cool wigs, cool accessories, cool Dave making noise in the background, and cool outfits.
That was my chair. I apologize.
No problem. And whitecosplay.com, but check out the link in the show notes to get yourself some discount and to get us a little bit of that discount that you saved with a white cosplay. Jugga, jugga, jump, jump, jump. So,
yeah.
We're talking about
the Dunwich Horror.
The Dunwich Horror, yeah.
So I got a question for you.
Go for it.
And I don't suspect you to know the answer to this. Then I'm going to tell you the answer to the question. What was the date and hour that you first saw the Dunwich Horror, the 1970s movie?
Oh, I actually can answer that.
Ooh, it may be the same day.
Okay.
What's your...
It was November 12th, 2005, and it was somewhere between 2 and 5 p.m. I was super, super, super sick, and I wandered down to Movie Madness, which is just down the hill from me, and I rented an armload of Lovecraft and collapsed. So, yeah.
Oh, so I first saw it October 25th, 1981, 8 o'clock Pacific time.
Whoa.
You know how I know that? I'm actually impressed that you knew yours.
You looked it up in the TV guide?
It's close. So I saw it. It was actually the 5th movie in Elvira's Mystery Macabre.
Oh,
and
interesting.
So the first one, I think, was The Grave of the Vampire. And for some bizarre reason, there was 2 TV shows that my family would gather and watch as a family. The Muppet Show and Elvira. And the first time I ever heard that there was a Dunwich Horror was, so she was giving previews of the next shows. And one of them was the Dunwich Horror. And I had just read the Dunwich Horror. It's the second Lovecraft story I'd ever read. And I had to have read it somewhere 80, 81. And I was so excited. I saw it and I was so disappointed. But part of that was because, I was a almost 14-year-old boy, still 13 at the time. And I really expected this true Lovecraftian adaptation, and it's not what I got. And even more, I got the TV edited version.
Yes, of course.
So yes, it's the first place I ever saw the Dunwich Horror. First place I ever heard of the movie Dunwich Horror was Elvira's Movie Macabre.
That's crazy. That's pretty fun. And yeah, no, you would not have had Dean Stockwell would not have been Dr. Yui in Dune, or been in a bunch of David Lynch films, or even Al from Quantum Leap. He was a character actor who unfortunately was in this Roger Corman horror film.
Exactly. And I kind of, exactly. And that's the first thing, as a 13-year-old kid, the first thing was, okay, they moved it from the 20s to the 70s. Okay, that's just, that was just not, that, within a couple of years, Dracula 72 is going to come out. So, that's just what they did. I get that. But the other thing that, as a kid, really bothered me was the fact that, Wilbur Whitley was not this goat guy.
No.
That you know, he was sort of this combination of Mr. Carter and somebody getting kicked out of the Playboy Club. But I kind of, as I'm a little older and I've seen this with different eyes, and there's this sort of, and Dean Stockwell has basically said that he played this character tongue in cheek.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He played it as if it was a joke that he was in on it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's that scene where he's like doing this sort of magic thing where he's got his hands out that look like L's.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of mocking an Aleister Crowley picture.
Correct. Yeah.
But don't you kind of get, knowing the source material, don't you get it's kind of maybe links with the deep ones?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of
I
like
can see that.
And there's one scene that I really kind of liked, and I actually rewatched it again, is the scene where he takes Nancy, the Sandra Dee character, and he's sort of hypnotizing her, right?
Yeah.
And they're up on the shore, and it gets cut in, circumposed on the waves.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of went. I think they kind of tried to go art housey.
Yeah.
So it's brainwashing, but again, this is reading way much more than it was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that kind of maybe ties into the deep ones.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no. There's something about, like, he feels less like Wilbur Whateley and more like a male version of Asenath Waite.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
And the other thing, obviously, it's somewhere, Dunwich Horror's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But I think it was also greatly influenced by Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah.
Which came out. So I think they were trying to maybe get some Rosemary Baby vibes, because it was a huge success just a year before.
Correct. Yeah.
So the writer, and I am trying to remember real quickly, is among, there was 3 writers, but the main one was Curtis Hanson.
Okay.
And Curtis Hanson is going to be most famous for, he did the screenplay of the Disney TV version or movie version of Never Cry Wolf.
Oh, okay.
He also won the Academy Award for the screenplay of L.A. Confidential.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he also did Wonder Boys, 8 Mile.
Yeah.
So he's done quite a bit. Well, he's passed away. Yeah. So he obviously has some talent here.
Yeah.
He definitely has some talent, especially. Never Cry Wolf and L.A. Confidential were like Dunwich Horror, than that they were movies based on existing books.
Yeah.
So if you gave him something to work with, and I'm not saying he wasn't creative in his own right, but that was his bread and butter. That was why people give him awards.
Sure.
Is because he can take previously written things and translate them into the screen. And I think there's some scenes there.
Yeah.
That are really good. But again, I think they tried too hard to maybe go Hammer and Rosemary's Baby. So its Rotten Tomatoes is about 23%.
Oh yeah, no, it has a terrible, terrible Rotten Tomatoes score.
And I read, I found a copy of online of Seminique that has the original review, and it says pretty much the same thing. That the cast is kind of wasted. Not really coherent. And remember, this is 1970. So Lovecraft was still a niche, but even in this nationally published magazine, it talks about this being the first or one of the first real Lovecraftian adaptations, mentioning, Die Monster Die being based on The Color Out of Space.
Yeah.
But, yeah, critics didn't really like it. And, I could buy, I mean, even back then they had Dawson casting. Sandra Dee was 28 when she did the movie.
Okay.
And so she's supposed to be like an undergraduate in college.
Yeah.
I can kind of buy that. But one of the reviews I found calls her fat. As a fat co-ed.
Jeez. Wow.
I think that's wrong.
Yeah. No. There's an amazing cast. Besides Sandra Dee, we have Dean Stockwell, who's a character actor who goes on to do a lot of really great character acting. As I said, he worked with David Lynch in like Blue Velvet and Dune, and he was in Quantum Leap, which was
Al.
Yeah, he was Al. He played a main character in a show that ran for a number of years on NBC. And, Dean Stockwell has done a lot, is known for a lot. And Ed Begley Sr., not Ed Begley Jr.
Yeah, who's most famous
Sr.
now for being the father of Ed Begley Jr.
But, just watch 12 Angry Men and you'll know who Ed Begley Sr. is. If you've watched, Anyway, is there anyone else famous in this?
So she's known mainly as Talia Shire.
Okay,
that's her married name. But she's actually was born, I believe, Talia Coppola.
Huh. Okay.
She's one of the Coppola family, and she only plays like a nurse. She's not in there a lot.
Yeah.
But she's done a lot of things. Most, probably the most famous is Rocky's wife.
Okay.
She's the Adrian.
Yeah.
But she's also, because she's a Coppola, she plays like little kids in
The Godfather.
The Godfather and other Coppola movies.
That's true. Also, I want to say Sam Jaffe is in there. No one else who I know. And other people are like, wait a minute, don't you know about so and so or so and so? And I'm like, I'm not Ken Hite. I don't know that stuff. But
another sort of character actor did a lot more TV. Not Michael J. Fox, but Michael Fox.
Oh, yeah, the reason Michael J. Fox has to have the J in his name.
Yeah, so he was like in everything in the 50s and 60s TV. Yeah. Perry Mason, Gunsmoke, The Untouchables. He played a couple times as a detective in the Batman TV series, Lost in Space.
Yeah.
He was just in like everything.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Very true. Another character actor in this film. It's like someone went down like, all right, we got Sander D. Someone go down to Central Casting and get us whoever, just whoever.
Yeah. And Sandra D had just broken up her contract or ended with I think it was Universal. And she was looking for something different.
Yeah.
And so I think we got to, and I believe this for years, and you're maybe going to be the expert here, because I believed it because I watched the edited TV version. But the urban legend.
Oh, okay.
Is, of course, and the studio pushed it, that she appears topless.
Yeah, no, she appears topless on the poster.
Yeah. And so even the scenes of like a little bit of side, those are almost guaranteed to be a stand-in.
Yeah.
But the story, and I believe this for years because I had seen the edited version, so she came out very strong. I will not do this nude scene. But the studio definitely pushed it like it was. And handed. And there's another rumor which may or may not true, because even though she doesn't appear nude, she appears rather with very little clothes, and she has to get into the altar wearing that, is that API built a second set for her.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was not comfortable, because she would be nude. And you people who are listening to this can't see my air quotes here. Well, she never appeared nude.
Yeah.
And API is notorious for not spending money. They're famous. I mean, not because they didn't have money.
No.
And they are actually pretty creative in getting through things with. I mean, I think they did very well on low budgets. They got a lot of intern type stuff, but I can't see that. I don't know if that's a true story. Because she never really appears. Now I could see a closed set and maybe something separate.
Yeah.
But the rumor that they posted at the time that they had to build a second private set for her.
I don't see American International doing that. American International is like, it's not around these days, but, or if it is, it's called something else, but it's one of those film companies like Canon. They're not going to spend the money. They're going to get someone else to do it. And, they're going to spin a rumor. They're going to get people to be like, whoa, yeah, no, I sat in the rafters and hubba, hubba, baby. Yeah. I mean, this isn't, this isn't how stuff is done these days, or is it? I don't know. But yeah.
So I mean, and that is sort of the main claim to fame that this show has is the urban legend.
Yes. I've always liked the animated intro for the movie. Personally, I always thought that was very kind of cool, like a Saul Bassian kind of like depiction of like cults.
Yes, yeah. So there are some good parts.
Yeah.
And there are some parts that maybe even Lovecraftian. So one other thing, though, I think we got to kind of maybe talk about.
Yeah.
Is there strange representation of the elder sign?
Oh, yeah.
So and it appears on, I think, the blanket that goes on top of Sandra D. And on Dean Stockwell's ring.
Yep, I was gonna say Wilbur's ring and the floor thing, but yeah.
And That, I believe, was Stockwell's ring.
Yeah. It was a family ring, and oh goodness, it's actually something. It's Native American. I can't remember what it is. What's that?
It's a Thunderbird.
Oh, okay.
It's a Thunderbird symbol, and you don't really notice it because there's all these sort of things around it, but at the center, it's a Thunderbird.
Okay.
But it's actually kind of cool.
Huh. Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, that's about all that I can think of, though.
Yeah.
About that movie, other than it, and I do understand, though. And I have not, but people have told me that have seen the Blu-ray version.
Yeah.
That the conversations about the movie are like twice as long as the movie.
Yeah.
And if you like, AIP stuff, if you like, and I understand there's actually some rough parts on it that talk about the actual story. So if you're the type of people, or the actual Lovecraft story, if you're the type of people who love commentary, I understand it's worth watching for the commentary. It's just going to take you at least twice as long.
And if you're like me, you like animated intros, rubber snakes, and boobs, this is a movie for you.
Yeah.
So, would you recommend this movie to people, Dave?
Certain people, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, would I recommend it? Like, I recommend things like The Birds, or A Creature from the Black Lagoon. No, but if somebody is interested in like Hammer horror, or really did think that Rosemary's Baby is the greatest movie ever, and that they want to get they just didn't get enough of their Rosemary Baby infusion. I mean, if you know what you're going into, it's not terrible.
Yeah. And I say it's a good kind of infusion of Thing at the Doorstep meets the Dunwich horror. It's just gender swapped. For Wilbur Whateley is now Asenath Waite, and Sandra Dee plays an unknown character named Nancy Wagner, who doesn't appear in any Lovecraftian stories. Why? Because she's an attractive woman who's, the protagonist.
So what I would not recommend it is if somebody just... the only reason they were going to watch it is because they're a huge Lovecraft fan.
Yeah.
No. Do you going to watch it because you want to say that you've seen every Lovecraftian version that's ever been put to film?
Yeah.
Go for it.
If you know what a Roger Corman film is and you say, "Oh, I'm up for that," this is a good film for you.
Yeah.
If you like to make fun of movies, you like to MST3K it, this is a great movie. This is an amazing film for that. This is a good film to make fun of, like a lot of American international films. It's kind of like it, as you said before, Dave. It's disappointing what this film is like, considering who's in it. But it's like where they're at in their career makes sense for everyone.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, that is the fun yet disappointing The Dunwich Horror, 1970.
That's going to be my new nickname. The fun yet disappointing David.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to call you that, but all right. Hey, everyone. Thank you again so much for listening to People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos. If you're still here, if you're still listening, check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Twitter. We don't use it. It just is like auto. Anyway, check us out on the YouTube. Go to pgttcm.com, People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos, pgttcm@gmail.com if you have a question or a comment. And let us know what you like. Let us know what you think is boring or dumb. And come see us this weekend at, what's this thing called? Fan Expo. It's
PDX.
PDX. It's at the Portland Convention Center on MLK. So check us out. We're going to be there February 17th to the 19th. I'm going to be on a bunch of panels. Dave's going to be on a bunch of panels. I'm going to be at booth 1133 helping my buddy JC. That is Jeremy Clark. Anyway, I'm selling guitar stuff. He's selling 3D printed fan art things. And yeah, no, we'll see you next time when we'll be talking about, according to my list, we'll be talking about PICKMAN and Alien. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be a good one.
Yep. All right, we'll see you next time, everyone.
Bye.
That was a good episode.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I don't know why, but I always salute people when I say, have a good one. And it's like, I'm not even up. Okay, anyway. Thank you so much, Dave. I'm going to go eat my birthday meal somewhere.
Well, happy birthday. And
thank you.
I'll send you this. I'll send you the Adams interview. And plus, he sent me a couple of links just of his books.
Cool.
I'll just put those in the chat.
Thank you so much. All right. I'll talk to you later, Dave.
All right. Take care.
All right. You too. Bye.